In 2003, during my second year of college, my girlfriend, who is now my wife, invited me to a Bible study at UP Diliman. I surrendered my life to Christ the following week, and since then, I was actively involved in J-Zone, CCF's youth movement now called Elevate. After graduating in 2005, I began working in advertising as an art director. My time in J-Zone as a student had reminded me to be salt and light in the workplace. I openly talked about my faith, and God's word constantly directed my convictions and decisions, even refusing projects that were not pleasing to God. I continued to grow in my desire to make God known, so together with some of my friends, we started a Bible study group in Makati for young professionals. That was where Pastor Alvin, Pastor Marty, and I first served together. And we often joked about resigning from our jobs to work full-time in CCF. Eventually, it became a reality for the three of us. We are all now serving in Elevate together. It was in June 2010 that I stepped out in faith to work full-time in ministry, becoming the first high school ministry coordinator in CCF. I was so excited to start growing the high school movement. I sought mentorship with another youth pastor, observed numerous youth services, and read books on youth ministry. I met with high school students, casting to them the vision and mission of discipleship in their campuses. And by God's grace, it started a growing movement. Students were starting to share the gospel and disciple in their campus. In the years that followed, I experienced a roller coaster of growth and stagnation in the ministry. At times, we would hit our highs. Many students were being discipled. Our high school team grew, and we developed good relationships with DepEd Pasig and some schools. But there would be a lot of lows too. High school students stopped attending discipleship groups. Our team grew smaller due to life transitions, and we received criticism from fellow workers and leaders. Although doubts about my calling would enter my mind through these lows, God gave me the strength to stay and persevere. Around this time, I was invited to be a pastor in training. I gained so much learning from the pastors' meetings and mentoring sessions we had. I was greatly encouraged with the privilege of being prayed for as part of the pastoral team. I felt like God was confirming His calling for me to be a pastor and shepherd for His people. Then in 2015, one of my most discouraging moments in ministry happened when the pastors were called to the stage to be prayed over. I got ready to go up as I did before. However, this time, I was not told to join them on stage. I was dumbfounded of what happened. Was I just removed from being a pastor in training? No one clearly explained to me about my status about that incident. I was left feeling rejected, hurt, and confused. In the following weeks, I couldn't function well or make decisions for the ministry. Different thoughts and questions filled my mind. I knew I wasn't perfect and had flaws as a worker, but nothing I knew of could have resulted in my disqualification as a pastor in training. I questioned the leadership and their decision making. I became angry and distant, not wanting to see any pastor. I wanted to resign. I wanted to look for another church who will accept me for who I am. However, though my discouragement was great, God's leading for me to stay in CCF was even stronger. Afraid to move out of God's will, I resolved to stay until God tells me to leave. I went to work each day with an obedient, albeit heavy heart. Slowly but surely, God gently spoke to me. He showed me how proud I have become. My position in the church had become my idol, that it caused me to forget what I was truly called to be, a disciple maker. God reminded me that He allowed this to happen for my good. I just needed to trust in Him. Eventually, after 7 years, I was able to share my hurts with my former supervisor, who is one of the pastors in CCF. He apologized for what happened. And through our conversation, I realized where I needed to improve in my life and ministry. It was a humbling experience, but I knew I needed it. By God's grace, He continued to use me in spite of my imperfections. In gratitude, I tried my best to faithfully do what He has entrusted to me. Together with my small team, we continue to work in growing the high school movement. It grew and expanded to other locations around CCF Maine. Eventually, I was assigned to oversee the whole campus movement of CCF Maine. Because I stayed, He allowed me to witness His work of how He used Elevate to enter hundreds of schools and disciple thousands of students, not just nationwide, but now globally. If I had not stayed, I would have missed out of being part of this. God has also blessed me with the privilege of helping other churches thrive in their own campus movements. We are now mentoring 33 churches, teaching them Elevate's best practices in campus ministry that God taught us through the years. Looking back, God has shown me that He is always more concerned about our character rather than our comfort and convenience. If need be, He will shake our calling, our dreams, our direction in life to test us, mold us, and prepare us for His best plan for our lives. But in order to persevere and stay in God's calling for us, we only need to fix our eyes on Him, our perfect Father and Master. I am Yuklid Aboganda, a campus ministry servant and a bond servant of Christ. To God be all the glory and praise.